is some of today's work. I'm still suffering with this cold, so there's 10 cannons there, all with side pulleys mounted. The cannons are not mounted to the side pulleys yet. I'm trying to get a position where I can show you it with focus. I'm not getting it. There we are. I think that's probably as good as we're going to get. So each one's got 3 pulley block systems on. The backs of the cannons have to be attached to those pulleys still. I'm going to wait for them all to set before I do that, which will probably be tomorrow. So that's the sum of today's work. The concentration level is still not brilliant, but that's taken all afternoon to do that. Okay, see you in a few seconds for the next phase. Held at the moment. My drill just broke, so I had to get another one out. Right, all these cannons, I'm going to tie up these black strings to the hooks and get them ready to put in position. I looked through the pictorial presentation that they give you, that Artesania Latina give you, and I found that the 8 front cannons don't get installed until ST07, I think it is, and I'm on 5, about a third of the way down 5 at the moment, so a while till these other 8 get put in. But what I also noticed was that they have one of the cannons sitting back. It's not pulled up into its port, it sits back. So by sitting it back, what they've done is the distance between these pulleys is not tied. No, that's the back one. These side pulleys, they're not tied off, they're left loose, so the cannon's further back as if it was in use. So when I come to that, I'll probably do the same thing. It's only a case of taking the string off between the 2 pulleys and making it a bit looser. Okay, I'm going to tie up these cannons, and I'll come back to you when they're done. Them all off, and the 8 which will go to the front of the ship, I've stuck in one of my storage boxes here, which will go in there because I want to keep them safe. Don't want them being interfered with. The other 2, I've got them sitting here ready to put on the deck, which is going to be my next little job. So let me get my camera set up and we'll get these in. I don't know if this is the easiest one to put on this or not, but I will give it a try. So what I tend to do is, let me see if I can tilt this down a bit towards me and then see if you can still see what's going on. Yes, you can. Alright. What I tend to do is take the hook, it's going to go into the wall on this hole here, and put that in first. So, not always the easiest thing to do. Also, I'm not working with a magnifier here, so it makes it even more fun. I can't see if the hook's gonna... I keep calling it a hook. It's not a hook, it's a ring. I need to get it in a position where I can see the hole. Can you still see what's going on here? Yeah. Right. Right. Here's the... backwards and forward in, you can see the nicely installed loops are made up. These are loops cannons are in position. I noticed that the ear on this goat's ear tends to drop towards the bulkhead, so I may just, yeah, it came off my handkerchief, so a little bit of glue in there in that hole, and we'll put it back on the right place. Yeah, coming out there. There we are. Now, put this in the right place. Try and do it without losing everything. Oh, come on. Really? I think my tweezers have got a bit too much glue on them. When you can't right, bit glue in there. So just get the tip. There we are. That fixed that. It's all going to be allowed to set before I move on to the, in fact the next bit is a little bit of electrical to be done at the back there, and for that I'll go back to the bench and we'll do a little bit of revision on something you learned a lot earlier in the build. Okay, see you in a second. To solder in a light which actually goes through from the rear of the captain's cabin. I just wanted to show you preparation for this. Now, a lot of people get soldering iron, they don't know what this little sponge is for. This little sponge, keep it wet. Always keep it wet, because you see the iron, how it's got old solder on it? Just wipe it across the wet sponge and voila! Nice and silver and tinned, ready to use. I use solder which contains its own flux, but you can also get solder flux, which is either a liquid or a jelly, but 6.5 dozen. Okay, so do you remember the sequence for putting these together? Now I've got a 1 and I've got 3 LEDs in here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 in there, and there's 1 in here. That means I've got 5 LEDs. Hope they're the same. We'll find out when I connect it up. So we'll take 1 LED to start with. So we're going to need 3 for the tail of the ship, and that leaves 1 over. I'm really surprised at that. Let me just clear my nose and I'll come back to you. The cable I've got left, but I don't need all that much. I only need a little bit. There's a whole stretch of it sitting in the back of the ship. So a little bit of red, a little bit of black. Yeah. So LED. We try not to put as much, try not to put any heat on the thing, but you can't solder without heat, so tin everything up first. So it's only a case, put a little bit of solder on each leg. Now I'm not going to, in the past I pulled these off I said pulled them off. I cut them short because I didn't think needed all the big length of the cable. But on this one, it's going to go against the back wall, and I think the extra little bit of length of wire will help to rigidize it a bit. Thin the wire, obviously. I seem to have taken an awful lot of wire out of that. Okay, let's do it like this. That's better. You don't need a great big tail of wire, you only need a little bit, just enough to get everything running. Now you see, everything's tinned. The LED's tinned, the wire's tinned. Now if you remember, the long wire, the long leg on the diode is the positive, i.e. it has the red cable. And you should get away with just touching it. So, let me have a look through here. I need a third hand basically, which I have got. I've just realised that I've got my third hand here. My soldier hand. There we are. That's easy. We just pop it in there. That's held. Yeah. Make sure I put it the right way around. Okay. Just give it a little tug and you can see that it's quite firm. Don't need a great big tail on the wire. It needs a little bit. You hear the tss as the iron hits the sponge. And a clean iron lets the heat flow. And if the heat flows, look, I can put my hand on it straight away, which means this isn't being damaged. That these LEDs that Artesania give you, they're flickering LEDs, which means they have a tiny little bit of circuitry inside, which makes it flicker. So you have to be a bit careful, because trying to replace these is almost impossible. So a little bit of tubing, heat shrink tubing, a little bit of black, no, probably enough to do the the red bits disappeared inside another one. Okay. It's down here somewhere. That's a bit too big, that, for this cable. I thought I had a thin red. There's your thin red one there. It's inside here. There it is. Look at that. I think it's the same. Alright, it will shrink. So now, if you don't know it, what you're going to do with this is it's going to be installed at the back of that steering area. So let's see how much I need. It doesn't need to be much longer. Half of that will be enough. So, turn the red one. Yeah, so it's going to join up to the cable that's been hanging out the back of the ship since, well, I don't know, since we started building the rear of the ship, basically. And that's going to be cut down and chopped into 3. And then each of those 3 pairs of wires will go out the back of the deck that's about to be installed and will become the lanterns on the rear of the ship. You see how I use the body of the iron just to ease the heat shrink into place. Doesn't take much, and this way you're not putting direct heat on the soldering or the LED. It's keeping it nice. There we go, that's all it needs. Let that cool a second. Let's put these bits back in my bag and keep them for afterwards. Guys, I hope you don't get this cold. You're not going to get it off me, obviously. But it is not a pleasant cold at all. Okay, you see I've just bent that over so it sits like that. Now I'll move you over to the other stand so you can see where it's going to go. You can see where I am. This is that steering area I was on about, and here's the little notch that they made for the light. I've got to try and make sure it goes right in the groove because we're going to plank over here, so I don't want any bumps on the top here. What I might do is make that groove a little bit bigger because I put heat shrink all the way up to the top, which I probably shouldn't have done. Let me see if I can move it back a bit. See if it'll go in that way. Oh yeah, that's sliding back a bit. That's what we want, just enough to do that. Look. Push it in, there you go, and bend it, and bend it down the way. There you go, the light's in position. Now, here's the 2 cables that have been in there since before we started building that area. Now, you can see that how much I'm going to cut off there is going to give me my 3 cables to go up over the top, and then they'll all get joined together, and this one will be joined to that as well. So just put a little bit of glue on here just to secure it in position. Doesn't take much. Now, I'm going to let all that glue set before I start messing about with soldering irons up here. So then I'm going to go and have my lunch and take some cold medicine. So I'll see you, well, for you, a few seconds, like I keep saying. See you in a minute. Morning everybody. I haven't recovered from this cold yet, but I've been doing little odds and sods around the ship. And one thing I noticed when I was doing something on the front deck is that this rail, which is on the front, I had managed to get 3 of these pillars 90 degrees out. In other words, the nails were facing forward instead of the wheels. So I had to take them out, and the best way was to take the bottom rail off the top rail and take everything out, and I put it together on the bench. So that's where we are now. This, it's actually stuck to my bench. I shall free that up in a second. This top rail is not stuck, it's just pushed on to keep everything in line. Okay, I'll free that up and put it on the ship in a second. Right guys, got it in position to stick it in. glue on here. Give it a good spread out. Notice I'm using white glue for this. I want it to stick this time. Right, this way around, can't go wrong. Oh, yes you can. That's right. So, just take the excess glue off there. Use my cocktail stick to clean it up a bit. And then push this one down onto the edge. What can I use to hold that down on there while it sticks? You see, if I touch one piece, another bit jumps out. So I don't really want to put pins in it. But mind if I leave it without touching it, it'll probably clean itself up. No, that's not going to work. That has to be held down somehow. It wants to slide all the time. I think I can get a clip around here. So spread that far, won't it? See if there's a problem. Can I use a double clip? One in here. This might work. One like that. That's what I was worried about. Yeah. One on each side, like that. Well, I worked some awkward little jobs. I think I'm going to have to use a pin or two. So, I've got some very thin modelling pins, which I'll use. If I can do it without demolishing my shed, as you can hear, things do tend to fall over. Yeah. Some very small pins, very sharp. So, let's try and pin this in that way. I don't think that's pinned in. I think these ones are big enough to do the job. No. Struggling, guys. Okay, let me work something out and I'll come back to you. I think you can see what I did. I put a couple of very small or very thin pins to hold the bottom down because it, for some reason, it kept wanting to lift up. But that's it. It's in again and stuck. Now I'm starting the rear end planking. I'm going to turn this around so that this is down here, it's right under the camera then. I don't have to stretch, and also the light's in the right place. So let me get it all set up and I'll come back to you. Them two planks are probably the hardest bit of planking I've ever put in any model. To get the groove in the right place just here where the cables come through, and to get them to stick together with the first one stuck on the centre line, I've had to go backwards and forwards quite a few times. It's been stuck 4 times, so hopefully that's it now. We'll see how it sets in. I'm going to let it set before I try to do some more. But I guess when I come up to the next sets of cables, I may have the same problem. So I'll have to look at another way of doing it, I think. I did the first 2 the way they suggest, by sanding a groove on the edge of the, not a groove, but just sanding the edge of the wood here. So when the 2 are put together, you get left with a little groove, which should be enough to hold 2 little wires. For some reason, I don't want to know. And I only want to take it sort of behind this rear bulkhead, because after that, it's got to be kept clear. They will be coming up into the rear of the ship. We'll see. Okay, I'll let this set and I'll come back to the next one. Alright guys, right. As you can see, I've started planking this rear deck. Wood's not great. It'll be good. It doesn't take long to do. It's only a shot. I marked up these marks here, which I've put it 24 millimeters. I think it's what they tell you. Should be the distance between the wires. I'll just find it again. All the same, I'm going to show you one and then show you another. Oh, there we go. Yeah, 24 millimeters. That's going to be the distance between where the wires come out. So I shall do it slightly different when I come to it. But you can see that doing it this way, it doesn't take long to set. You can carry on, do the next one, next 2 or 3. You don't have to cut these. They're all going to be cut later anyway. Just make sure they're stuck to the deck and they're stuck to each other, basically. You've got plenty left over at the end here. You see a slight curve in it. There we go. So I just keep doing this. Probably have to stick that one back together again. We'll see. I meant to show you that I had tested the lights before I carried on with this, with the 3 cables hanging out the back. Made sure that my lights were all still working, including the one I just wired up, which is under here. And they look pretty good. Okay, just put a nip on there just to keep it in place. Same with these. It just needs a little clip just to sort of say, right, I want you to stay there. Here, 2. There. Tricky one there is because there's nothing to grip, look. So the only place you can do that is by doing that. So what I'm going to do here is just put a little bit of glue on there. I don't know why I'm gluing it away out there. It's going to be cut somewhere about here. But yeah, if you're like me, you like to know it's stuck together. Let me show you the lights working. Open the flap, get to the switch and switch it on. There we are, all the lights working. Quite bright, aren't they? This one doesn't flicker for some reason. But then that one under there doesn't flicker very much either. It doesn't matter because well, you get a bit of light through the deck, which you will get. Be interesting. We'll see how it comes out in the end. I was going to try and work out a way of putting a clip or something on this hatch so that when it's opened it still stays around. And it's got it to quite a nice fit, so I'm quite pleased with that. See, it doesn't take long with this cyano. I'll leave that clip on there for now. I'll work on the next one. I think another 2 or 3 before, another 2 I think before I get to the where the wire's going to come out. Something like that. Okay. Nice, that's the rear deck installed. Yeah, you can see a couple of gaps like up here. I'm not going to bother that because this inside part is going to be lined, and even just using this thin stuff, you can see if I put a liner on there, that hole in the deck's missing. Same there, it's covered up. It's going to be behind the bowl. Okay, that's it for this video. I know there's not very much on it. I'm still suffering with this cold. So if you like what I'm doing, like, share, subscribe. It all helps the channel apparently. I don't know how, but still new at this YouTube stuff. As I say, like, share, subscribe, and when you subscribe you see a bell notification come up, a bell icon will come up. That's notification. If you click on that, you'll be notified when new videos are put on the channel, which in my case are Mondays and Thursday evenings. I still haven't done the video I said I was going to do of all the other models that I've made. I'll probably get around to that this week. I wanted to get some progress on this, even if it is only a little bit, and as you can see the front end is totally repaired. So, quite happy with that. Okay guys, see you on the next one.